What's good? Brian Tong here, and Apple, they just dropped a whole bunch of new goodies on us at their Time Flies event. So, I thought that maybe we should talk about it. We won't cover everything, but almost everything. And, while we're at it, let's just throw out some good apples and bad apples. Yeah? You with me? Okay, let's go here. Now, my favorite thing of the event, hands down, the product that is going to make the biggest impact from this keynote, and you may or may not agree with me, it has to be the Apple Watch SE. This is directly really from the Tim Cook playbook. Don't spend more money on new tooling if you don't need to. Bring a more than capable processor. It doesn't have to be the newest one. Include features people absolutely need, and then pull back on others for a mid-range price point of $279. And if you don't own an Apple Watch today and you've just always wanted one, how can you just not seriously consider an Apple Watch SE? Like, I have a Series 4, and the only reason I'd be really motivated to go to a 6 is because of a new color, as sad as that sounds. And just knowing that the Series 6 has the U1 chip that is a future platform Apple's committed to, then I can actively use the Find My app for testing it out as a tech reviewer. Yeah, that's what I tell myself to make me feel better about getting one. But look, most people, they just don't really need the Series 6. Now, let's look at this comparison, and the Series 6 has blood oxygen monitoring, the ECG feature, which I've used maybe 2 or 3 times ever, and then always on display, which wasn't compelling enough for me to upgrade from a Series 4 to a Series 5. I know that my health needs are going to be different than yours, but if I didn't have an Apple Watch today, my first watch absolutely would be the SE. And a lot of you are going to be perfectly good with the SE. That still includes one of its most important safety features, fall detection. For me, this is a no-brainer. Apple Watch SE absolutely gets a good Apple.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond hardware here. Family setup is going to allow a parent or adult or someone semi-responsible to set up multiple watches from one single iPhone and then control the amount of access each watch has. So for the first time, someone can have an Apple Watch even if they don't have an iPhone. So other than being deep in the ecosystem, if your significant other, let's say, has an iPhone, really, what do you think the best smartwatch you can get is? It's the Apple Watch SE, really, especially at that price. And we've seen different hooks and different developments of how Apple could really, this could be the signal that starts the Apple Watch being completely independent from the iPhone. That's if Apple chooses to ever go there, but we're just starting to see it now. And I'm not saying that everyone has this money to spend, but in the past, a family of 4 would easily cost around $1,400 to equip every member with an Apple Watch, and then each person on top of that would need to have an iPhone. Well, let's talk about now with $279, you get 4 family members. That's just a little over $1,100, and then one iPhone to set them all up. This is absolutely going to be gangbusters come holiday for the gift of the season. And if they haven't already, Apple has now just truly cemented themselves as the king of smartwatches with this move, because the gap is only going to get bigger. And all you young people out there, okay, make sure your parents aren't watching this part of the video in 3, 2, 1. Okay, between you and me, the coast is clear. Here's a hot tip. Ask your parents for a Series 3. It doesn't work with family setup. It's cheaper at $189. So then you'll have to set it up on your iPhone and your iPhone only, and then they won't be able to put parental controls on it. You should also just really be happy you're even getting a Series 3. And remember to emphasize to your parents, you are saving them money too by pointing out the SE is more expensive. And knowing's half the battle. So see, that freedom, totally worth it. Just trust me. You can trust me. Yeah, I'm a good guy. Yeah, okay. Go back to wherever they are in 3, 2, 1. Now, I will say that I was left a little disappointed with the Series 6. It really didn't do too much to differentiate itself from the Series 5. You have Samsung's Galaxy Watch 3. That's a competitor. That brings blood pressure monitoring on top of the ECG and blood oxygen. The Series 6 doesn't have all that. And maybe I'm reading into it too much, but in the beginning of the keynote, Apple showed someone with diabetes, and I thought maybe we'll see blood glucose monitoring. Maybe it's coming, but it's not. And okay, yeah, I was probably reading too much into that, but I was really wishing for significantly better battery life like they did with the iPhone 11. It was kind of a big step, but it didn't happen here with the Series 6. So I guess I'll just dream of a 2-day battery life on an Apple Watch. Oh, that'd be nice. Now, if you own the Series 4 or Series 5, I don't know if it's really worth updating to a 6 other than you just want to, and hey, that's okay. I'm not going to give this a bad Apple with the Series 6, but I guess more of a meh Apple. Yeah, I think this also does, though, speak to how amazing the Apple Watch really is. Still one of my favorite Apple devices of all time. But I was honestly hoping for a little more from them with their top-tier watch. And I can't forget the most controversial part about the Apple Watch. Apple will no longer be shipping power adapters with them, just the USB charger cable. And I actually have mixed feelings about this. They're saying it's to take care of the environment, to reduce e-waste, and I do believe that part of the story, some of it, but it also drives down their costs as well. So if I was a first-time Apple Watch buyer, and trust me, based on polls I've done, we got roughly 25% of Apple users that don't even have an Apple Watch yet, but they're looking to get one. I'd like to have a power adapter in my first Apple Watch box. And here's the other part of it. I also think that Apple is doing this with the Apple Watch so that we can hear about it first. People can get upset about it, get some of that built up anger out that's rooted in things deeper than Apple, but it's easier to unload on Apple and then be more okay once they do the same thing with the iPhone. I think it's just conditioning us and getting us, kind of easing us into getting rid of the power adapter for the iPhone. And you've got to know that they have thought this through. There is just nothing we can do about it. And that's just a whack Apple. Boo! Now, this next thing may not have been the sexiest part of the keynote unless you just like working out, which can definitely be sexy too. But I can already tell that my nephews Jake and Tyler and Jaron, y'all just like threw up in your mouth because I said the word sexy. Ooh la la. Someone's gonna like it. But a new service, Apple Fitness Plus, directly takes on Peloton and other fitness apps who've experienced great success with the at-home workouts, especially with our current situation where everyone is just staying at home. And part of me is saying, like, Apple, do you really have to go after every market? Like, can't you just let others keep their slice of pie for once? But then, after watching the demo, the fact that they can really tightly integrate all these activities and classes with the Apple Watch is just like another advantage that they have with the ecosystem. You're going to be able to access classes on their fitness app, which will be on Apple Watch, iPad, iPhone, and Apple TV. This is coming late 2020, and if you buy an Apple Watch, you're going to get 3 months free. It also will cost then $9.99 a month after that, $79.99 for the year, but then the plans can be shared with 5 other family members, and that's just a killer deal if you like working out. Now, also, a week before this event, Peloton announced that Apple Watch will work with its newest Bike Plus. That's starting to ship this week. Apple Watch has never had that one-touch gym kit compatibility with Peloton bikes until now, and this is honestly a huge deal for both sides. But now that Apple is trying to take on Peloton directly, there was no mention of this at all at their keynote. Like, it was just non-existent. So, Apple Fitness Plus, for me, it gets a good Apple. Yeah. Sad Apple. I think that because it's going to be a success purely because of the size of their user base already, but also it just feels like Cupertino will not be satisfied until they take over every type of business. So next up on their list, I'm going to guess what, for world domination? Food delivery service. Like, it's getting that ridiculous. They're starting to get to that point. All right, if you missed my Apple event live stream on this channel, I also took part in a fitness challenge to do 50 push-ups straight to get people who weren't subscribed to my channel to subscribe. I made it to 43, and 43 is a pretty good number, but I still failed miserably. It was a valiant effort, and I will try again, but now, like, I can't really feel my left man boob. Like, what am I even touching now? All right, now I only mention this so that you come back for my next Apple live stream. It could get crazy. Look, we had over 150,000 people come to watch it live, and then the peak amount of people at one time was 6,000 plus. So thank you, many of you who are actually just watching right now, and just come back for our next iPhone event live stream. We're expecting it sometime in October. Also, I might throw in some more Beachbody with Brian Tong challenges. All right, but Fitness Plus isn't Apple's only service. Apple officially announced Apple One. This is their tiered subscription plan for all of these Apple services coming this fall. Now, first of all, you know that I heavily criticized the rumors after it was reported that iCloud would only be in their top tier plan. I'd like to think that I had something to do with this, even if I probably didn't. So I got to give them a good Apple for not being greedy and offering iCloud at every level. Maybe I'm giving them a good Apple for no reason. But look, the fact is that you can share the family and premier plans here with up to 5 people. It makes these bundles of services just really compelling, even if you just like a couple of them. It's about time we saw the bundle like this. We've been waiting for a while, and even if I'm not the target customer here, there's just real value, and Apple One definitely here. They get a good Apple. And finally, let's get to the iPads. Okay, so we have the 8th generation. This is a great entry-level machine with the A12. You got Apple Pencil support, smart keyboard support starting at $329. You also gotta love it when Apple just makes these comparisons to roast the competition.
This new iPad with the A12 Bionic is up to 2 times faster than the top-selling Windows laptop. It's up to 3 times faster than the top-selling Android tablet. And it's up to a whopping 6 times faster than the top-selling Chromebook.
And just because they are the top selling doesn't mean that they are the best performing non-Apple devices. And like at first I thought they were talking about the iPad's price in comparison, not performance. They still might have been. Look, I want to talk about the iPad Air 4. Those pastel colors, they are so on point. The slimmer bezels and iPad Pro-like design, on point. I love them, bringing back Touch ID, but now on the power button. This is a first from Apple. Yes, Android devices have already had these for years, because here's what I'm thinking. If we are bringing back Touch ID on an iPad, could that finally mean that we're going to put this on an iPhone and just be done with that notch once and for all? I'm serious here. Some people hate me talking about the notch. I hate the notch. And for those of you who defend it because that apple juice tastes so good and you're like, oh, it makes my phone unique, you won't even care once it's gone. You're going to be like, wow, where was this screen real estate all this time? Trust me. Now, the Air, though, here, this was another bright spot, especially when Apple took their time to get nerdy with this, go deeper about the advantages with their new A14 Bionic chip. This is the first time we've ever seen this chip in Apple hardware, and maybe a little peek of what we could expect from Apple Silicon Macs before the end of this year. We obviously don't have any benchmarks yet, and they were comparing its gains to the previous iPad Air, but I want to see how the A14 Bionic compares to the A12Z and the current iPad Pros, because they're touting it as the most advanced chip Apple's ever made, but we never saw a comparison there. I know it's a different product line, but it feels like the A14 is more powerful than the current iPad Pro. The number is higher, but if it is, well, we didn't see any kind of refresh for the iPad Pro. That's a sad apple. At $599, they've really packed in a whole lot of tech in this iPad Air 4. I'm not going to forget USB-C. It also will come with a 20-watt power adapter, and this to me is really worth its bump up from the previous model, so I'm giving it a good apple.
Yeah!
Plus, those colors look sweet. It's like a batch of Smarties candies, and I like candies. All right, did I miss anything? What do you think? Do you agree, disagree with the apples that I threw out? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What were your good apples? What were your bad apples? Give me your highlights, your lowlights. Put them down below, and I'll only respond if your name starts with a letter from the alphabet. All right, that's going to do it for my reactions of the Apple event. It was just kind of the appetizer for the rest of the season to me. They weren't going to give us all the good stuff, but look, we still have on deck iPhone 12, AirTags, HomePod Mini, AirPod Studio, the new Apple Silicon Macs left for this year. So if you were let down, I know this wasn't like kind of the biggest event. I threw a lot of good apples because I thought they were all really solid moves. Nothing spectacular, but still good moves. And for some reason, if you're not happy, don't be, because you're live. Now, if you like this video and all my content, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, so you can get all my latest videos when they drop. Also, if you want to get even deeper with all things Apple, check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast with the latest stories and special guests. Plus, I would love your support. All my work is independent, and you'll get early access to my content, rewards at different levels, and completely ad-free versions of the podcast at patreon.com/Brian Tong. So thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and we will see you next time. Peace and love.